The Florida Cracker Feedlot is a scratch kitchen serving breakfast and barbecue in the heart of downtown Webster. Come down and try some of our Florida soul food. We make our gravies fresh every morning and cook our corned beef for our hash all night long while we are smoking fresh brisket throughout the night. We also make our bread fresh daily as we roll out our biscuits in the mornings. There aren't too many places that do that anymore. If you ever need any catering for your party in the barn, we can make it happen, bringing the Florida Cracker Southern hospitality to your home. Come down to our breakfast bar and check out the local cattle brands too. All right, welcome back to another edition of the Goblay Show. I'm Billy, your host, and today we have a special few guests. Our guest today is some friends of mine that have also been very generous sponsors to the show, and they own their own company, and you may have heard of it. It's our good friends from Kona Ice, Jeremy and Marisa Wallen. Jeremy, Marisa, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us, Billy. We're excited.
Don't be too nervous now. So how was your Thanksgiving? Everything good?
It was good. Typically on Thanksgiving, we normally go up to Georgia, and so Jeremy can hunt, and we spend time with my family. But this year was a lot different. We had our daughter graduating from her special effects makeup school on Wednesday.
Gotcha.
So Thanksgiving looked different, whereas our family stayed to have Thanksgiving with us on Wednesday. And then we were able to relax a little bit and then do Thanksgiving on Thursday with his family.
Gotcha.
Which usually we miss because we're in Georgia.
Oh, yeah, for the hunting, yes.
So we were able to get our Christmas tree up on Thanksgiving, and we watched The Elf and The Grinch. So it was...
Classic stuff.
It was a good... we had 2 days off from not doing Kona and not doing our other new business. So it was relaxing for the first time in forever.
Gotcha. And we'll get into your new business soon. I don't want to just pull the cat completely out of the bag right now. We want to keep that kind of little hidden for just a moment. But I'm glad you guys got to come on. I've been wanting to thank my sponsors, and I figured what better way to thank our sponsors and have them on the show and tell everybody what they're all about. Yeah. So, where are you guys? I know I've known Marisa for all my life, but Jeremy, where are you from? This area?
Yeah, I was actually born and raised here until I think I was a junior. I ended up moving to North Florida.
Gotcha.
Then actually moved to Cincinnati for like 10 years.
Okay. I did not know that you were in Cincinnati. That's I learned something every day.
Yeah. I was almost 10 years there, and now I'm, wanted to leave the small town, go to the big city, and did that. And I was like, I want to go back to small town. Yeah.
You have any highlights from Cincinnati? Something that you like, man, this is like, I miss this.
I miss the Skyline chili. It's really good.
Skyline chili?
If you ever get a chance, try it out.
What is that? What is exactly Skyline chili?
It's almost like spaghetti.
Sounds disgusting.
It does, and it's spaghetti noodles with a chili sauce over top of it, and it actually has cinnamon and chocolate in it.
Okay.
And you're like, oh, that's weird. And a heaping pile of cheese on top of it.
A heaping, yes. That must be a lot.
It's like a block of cheese.
Yes.
It's like a block of Velveeta just sitting there on top.
Yeah. And I think he also misses, he did a lot of dirt bike racing back then.
Okay.
And not trail riding. I sound like I don't know what I'm talking about, but you did a bunch of, what do they call them? Not enduros, but
hair scrambles.
Hair scrambles and stuff. So a lot of the scenery is a little bit different than racing here in Croom. There's rocks and hills, and so he I think he really liked that.
Yeah. Gotcha. Well, when you said trail riding, I thought he was on a Bronco or something. He's like, woo! Checking those, putting the spurs on and everything.
No. He was the first guy I ever knew with a dirt bike, so I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh, yeah, I didn't either, and I still don't. But there's a lot of things I don't know about dirt bike. It looks fun. It looks really cool, but it's just one of those things where I'm like, those guys are crazy.
Yeah, lots of injuries.
Yeah,
that's why he doesn't have one anymore.
It's fun till you get hurt, and then
I think that's with anything. You're like, man, that looks really cool until you break a femur or something.
You're like, oh, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Years later, you're like, oh yeah, I remember that crash, and you're like, your knees hurt, and you're like, oh yeah, I know why.
Yeah. Now I can tell when the weather's coming.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
He's my own weather barometer.
Yeah.
You know? It's cold today. Wear your jacket.
Yeah, you're like, is it gonna rain? You're like, I doubt it. My hip ain't hurting.
The joys of getting old.
Right. So you guys are both from here, and Marisa, what year did you graduate? 97?
I was 97.
97.
97.
Jeremy, what year did you?
98.
98. Okay. So, but did you go to South Sumner?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I didn't graduate from there.
Oh, okay. So where'd you graduate from?
Up in Live Oak.
Oh, okay. All right. How was that? What's the class of, how many?
Like 5.
I was going to say.
I'm joking.
That's what I thought. I'm like, Live Oak, good Lord. They're like, let's just get a canopy and we'll go out in the woods. I've been there to get sweet potatoes. That's all I know about Live Oak.
It's not much.
So you guys, you're from here. You get into this new endeavor that you're gonna just out of the blue one day. You're gonna be like, hey, I have this crazy idea. We're gonna sell. I don't want to say shaved ice, but that's basically what it is.
Yeah.
I don't want to call it snow cones. I think
no, it's not snow cones. Yeah, shaved ice.
I think that degrades the whole value there.
I think it does too.
So you wake up one morning and you go, oh, I think I'm gonna. But before that, what were your jobs?
Yeah, so Jeremy and I got married in 2012.
Okay.
And he did line work for a little bit and got injured. And then I was a speech language pathologist, which I still am. And we were both working. And then I can't remember, he worked for the county for a little bit. And then he was able to get a job with Mr. Foote at the bus garage. Okay. And I came to the school board too. So we were both working for the school system. Right. I was a speech therapist. He was a mechanic in the bus garage. Then COVID happened.
Gotcha.
He was really no longer a mechanic. He was a bus driver.
Gotcha.
And I was having to do therapy. The online model was super interesting. And then when we came back to school that next year, it was 6 feet apart with mask on. Classroom management was a nightmare. It was really hard to make progress. I was coming home super frustrated because I couldn't do my job. Jeremy was coming home frustrated because he couldn't do his job. He was having to drive buses. So
right.
That's kind of where we were. And Braden and I were in Mount Dora one day, Braden, our daughter, and I look over and I see this Kona ice truck, and I had never seen one before in my life.
Yeah.
And I saw this guy in there. I didn't talk to him, but I saw on the side it said, we do fundraising. And I was an assistant coach for the girls basketball team at South Sumter High at the same time. And we're always looking for ways to raise money.
Right.
So I remember just getting online and going to the website, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I saw Own a Kona, and I clicked on that. Went down this wormhole,
rabbit hole
of like looking at, because it would take you to like, different entrepreneur sites or franchising sites. And I came home, and I'll never forget, we went to my mom and dad's house, and my mom and dad and me and him and my 2 sisters were sitting around. And I said, I think we're going to get to go to this shaved ice business. And Jeremy said,
no. I looked at, at first she pitched the idea to me. She's like, I think we ought to do this. It'd be fun. My exact words, I'm like a carny, like a food truck? Yeah, I had no clue. And I was like, no. I'm like, and I kind of laughed. I kind of thought she was joking. I'm like, we have good jobs. And
right.
I'm like,
retirement, things.
And I laughed, and I was like, no. I'm like, that's crazy to me. Like, you cannot make a living doing that. And it's, to me, that just, it seemed like something that just couldn't be done.
I think his words were ludicrous.
That sounds like,
and not the rapper.
Yeah, no. Yeah. So then I thought, my family, they'll back me up because they back me up with anything. And of course, my sisters were super supportive from day one. You should do it. My mom and dad were like, no, we paid for a degree.
Margaret's giving you the cutthroat sign.
My dad's like, you have a master's degree and you're going to quit your job and drive around this truck. And But I just kind of felt like this is something I really wanted to look into.
Right.
So I actually sent, because you can go on the Kona website and find a Kona, and the 3 closest will come up. So I emailed both of them, all 3 of them, and one guy was super gracious and was like, "Yeah, call me."
Yeah.
That ended up being the guy at the food truck that I didn't talk to, the Kona truck that day. But
Mount Dora.
Oh, wow.
And so he was like, "Oh my gosh, I was also an educator in Lake County, COVID, blah, blah, blah. Didn't want to do it anymore. So far, so good. Come work on the truck with me." He was so gracious. Like I call him my fairy Kona godfather now, but like we're really good friends with him and his family.
Oh,
but he let us come and work on the truck. Still was just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was not feeling it. I was like, there's no way.
Yeah.
Like, we're not doing this. I'm like,
I mean, I hadn't even had a Kona at that time until probably a month before we even like sent our deposit in. But,
yeah,
so-
when she said, "Oh, you have to send a large money in," I was like, "What?" I'm like, "This money, we're probably never getting it back. It's probably just a scam." Because I'm very scared of that kind of stuff because you know it happens every single day.
Sometimes he's negative.
Well, you can't even get on Facebook Marketplace anymore without trying to get scammed.
Exactly.
It's content.
So when they said they wanted $20,000, I'm like.
Yeah. I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, I was like, we don't have that, and if we get it, I'm like, why are we just going to give it to somebody?
Yeah.
Because I just didn't. I'm like, we'll probably never get it back.
Yeah.
But I wore him down. So
It took 6 months.
It took a long time.
Yeah.
So we sent this money in, and then a few months later, we had to go up to Kona for our Kona college.
Yeah.
And we're on the airplane, and I'll never forget. He looks at me, and he goes, "We've probably lost our money, but I'm not going to say I told you so." Like, he's being condescending, like sometimes, spouses can be. And I was like, it's gonna be fine. Like, I'm still like, I'm nervous, but I'm excited.
Yeah.
I mean, we show up, they open the door, and there's Carl, there's our truck. And I'm crying because I'm just like, this is the start of our life. And we're going, this is our dream. And
New chapter.
and of course, he's still like, "I remember they're salespeople, blah, blah, blah." But by day 2, I'll never forget Billy. He looks at me and his eyes are this big, and he goes, "We're gonna own a fleet of these things." Like he finally saw the picture,
Yeah.
And so that's kind of a funny story about, But then, we didn't really know what we were doing. We didn't really know how to work this. No one around here. Some people knew what Kona was, but a lot of people,
idea.
I had no idea.
Like neither one of us really ran a business, so we didn't know. We were kind of just like, they're like, "Here, take this and make money and
and have fun.
know what to do with it." But we didn't know.
Yeah.
We had no clue on the business side of it.
Right.
It was a huge learning curve.
Huge.
Yeah, it's like you're going out on a wing and a prayer there, just like, but it shows your true character, how you just said, "Look, this is what I want to do, and we're going to make it happen." I mean, you're always going to have those second thoughts and the skeptical people that were
a lot of them.
not saying Jeremy isn't skeptical, but
I was very skeptical.
very skeptical.
My parents were very skeptical too.
Thank you.
Yeah,
but I mean, but that's a parent. They're going to be like, "Are you sure?" I mean, your dad, I can just hear him say this. Are you sure you want to do that? You haven't, and that's not just something that you go. But there are so many different things that happen in our lives that go, you're like, I think I'm going to move to Cincinnati. Can you pass the ketchup?
Yeah.
And people are like, what? But they got to remember it's your life. Mm-hmm. You got to do it. And if you don't succeed, then you learn from it. It's a learning process.
Oh, we've made so many mistakes.
Yeah.
But I have to say our community has been very supportive.
Right.
I mean, luckily our school system almost right away allowed us to come in and start helping doing fundraising for our schools. And we've given, I think, Oh gosh, I should have wrote it down. We've given thousands of dollars just to Sumter County schools, and
Right.
we're very proud of that fact that that is something that we can offer, because not everybody wants to buy the wrapping paper or the bags of popcorn or whatever the different fundraising
Right.
things that the schools are using.
Donuts.
Yes, we are something a little bit different, and
Right.
the kids lose their minds. They love it. I mean, they just love it.
Crazy.
And so we owe a lot of our success has been because we've had a lot of good people backing us and pushing us and being positive on those days that we feel like, oh, it's never going to work. We have someone going, nope, you can do this.
Yeah.
And that has been great. And we were able to expand and buy our second territory within just a few months. We saw the need that we could move and make you have
And
a
grow the
bigger
business.
footprint. So we were able to buy the rest of Citrus County.
Oh,
And
wow.
so now we're up to 2 Kona vehicles and a trailer. So we are able to be most everywhere that people want or need us to be. So that's been a big blessing.
Your expansion. What do for those of them that are the people that are listening, explain to them your expansion. I don't want to say it's like the mafia, but
No, it's a franchise.
But it's a franchise.
Yeah.
But it's a territory.
Yeah, we'll let Jeremy.
So how it works is you get X number of zip codes depending on the census. So they want you to be around, I think it's 100 to 120,000 people
Right.
per territory.
Right.
So you might have 9 zip codes or you might have 1 zip code,
Gotcha.
depending on the population of the area. So our first territory was basically Sumter County. We had a little bit of Pasco, like a sliver of Citrus, and then the opportunity to sit by Citrus County for our second territory opened up. So how it works is, since that's our territory, no other Kona, other people can come in the area to do whatever, but no other Kona can come and sell or raise money in our area. That's our territory,
Right.
which we can't go theirs and do the
Right.
same, because that's, you can end up losing your franchise that way.
Now, is there an opportunity for, like, say you have, say you go into another territory, invited, like they get overbooked?
Yeah, absolutely.
You can do that as well.
That franchisee has to reach out, and it's better to have like email record.
Yeah, proof.
You never know.
True.
But yeah, you can go in. Like, we've had our neighbors come do stuff for us, and we've done stuff for our neighbor franchisees. Because pretty much Kona is everywhere. I mean,
Oh yeah.
like, we would love to expand even further, but there's no territories around us that's not already owned.
So we have to wait for people to retire,
Gotcha.
or want to get out of the business. So
Gotcha.
we're kind of stuck.
It's like Green Bay Packer tickets. You gotta wait for somebody to move out or die.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I was gonna say, when you said Kona is everywhere, we went to 2 Thanksgivings ago. We went to Denver, and we were staying outside in Aurora, and they had the Gaylord palms there.
Mm-hmm.
There was a Kona truck there.
Yeah.
Inside, I was like, there's 30 degrees outside. Who's going to eat a Kona?
But
There is
it's warm inside though.
Oh yeah, it is.
There is
true.
actually a Kona franchise in Alaska.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you think they have to pay for ice there? Is this just free? They just scoop it up off the ground?
They've kind of posted, they were at an event and there was probably 5 foot of snow. They're like, we don't even have to use the shaver. We can just go outside. I'm sure they
gonna
did.
be wild.
Yeah.
That's so funny. So you embark in this endeavor, not knowing what you're going to do. I also wanted to point out, when you were saying, you were thankful for the community, and that's exactly how I feel about this podcast. I am so grateful and thankful for that people, including yourselves, that want to help sponsor this podcast. And I just think it's a great partnership. Whatever I can do for you guys do for me, and it's not expected. It's just we just help each other, and I think that's a great. It speaks volumes for this community. I mean, it's like we're one big family.
Absolutely.
And I think that we do have the best community in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing how just the friendship people have, and just the positivity and it, because we listen to a lot of other people in our Kona community, and we count ourselves very lucky that we are able to do our business here.
Right.
And I know it's confusing because our name is Kona Ice of Homosassa Dade City, so that confuses everybody. But we are, the heart of our business is right here in
this is our
Sumter
community.
County.
Well, that's the first thing. If I'm out and about and I see the truck, I always look for that name first. It's on the side door. Because I'm like, I was at Cypress Creek for a football game, and they had a Kona truck there, and I'm like, oh man, that ain't them.
No, but that's our buddy.
But it's very confusing because people be like, oh yeah, I saw your truck driving down the interstate in Georgia. I'm like, well,
I mean, I've sent you a text. Do you remember that when I sent you a text and it said, hey man, I think you left your lights on, and you're like, not me, and I'm like, oh well, maybe it was another Kona truck. Whether your water is supplied by a public municipality or a private well, for residential or commercial use, Purified Water Services LLC has the solutions to provide you with simply clean water. We offer a complete line of professional water filtration equipment and accessories. Soft water makes a difference you can see and feel. Water heater and appliances last longer with less maintenance. Iron and H2S filters eliminate iron stains and offensive rotten egg odors, and protects your water softener equipment from iron fouling. No matter what your problem is, Purified Water Services LLC has a solution. Contact Kenny Williams at 352-446-2709.
People don't realize that there's probably just the trucks. I think there's like 1,800 at least on the road. Plus the little trailers, and so there's a lot.
They it's overwhelming sometimes because you'll see one and you're like it's like almost like an ambulance or a fire truck. You're like, there goes another one, but
you're like, I know them. No.
So for those of you listening, I am also a part-time employee of Kona, and when I say part-time, I mean part-time.
That's because you're very busy.
That's because I got a lot going on. But I do love working in the Kona truck. I really do. I love interacting with the people. I don't know. It's just a sense of like even though they're buying from you, you're giving back. Like, I don't know. That's just a weird feeling, or I don't know how to explain that. But it's like when you hand them that, and they look at you and they go, that's just ice, right? And I'm like, but it's Kona ice.
But you could put your own flavors on.
I'm like, and you're helping me out by doing it yourself.
I know, like sometimes parents will say, "Oh my gosh, you're everywhere," and I know that I understand. But also, it makes us feel good. Yes, we are everywhere, but yes, your kid bought a Kona at Left Shore Elementary. That money's going back to them. Your kid bought a Kona at Wolfpack football. That money's going back to that league. You may buy a Kona at the youth group. Let's go back to the youth group. So it does. I think total. I haven't totaled our numbers this year, but I think total of numbers for give back for the our communities was about $50,000, not counting this year. So for us to be a small business, we are that is like our love language is giving. I think we love to give, and that was the one thing about Kona. There's some core values, and one of them is giving back. Like that, they don't make us, but it's something that they encourage, and they want us to give back to our communities. And one day we're going to be able to say, "Oh my gosh, we've given back $100,000," and that just tickles us and fills our hearts up. And so on those days that sometimes we get kind of like, just this is so much work,
burnout.
When we pop open our computer laptop, and every year we have our give back on our home screen, so we can look at that every single day. And that is why we do this. It is not, I would love to go on vacation one day, I'm not going to lie. Maybe we can go to Jackson Hole. But it's not just to make money. It is to give back. Jeremy and I feel it's very important to also give back by hiring people within our community. We don't We don't go on Indeed and try to find people. We don't go to other websites. We will post on our website, hey, we're hiring. And we are very proud of the fact that you as one of our employees, but we also have 9 other employees that are all Sumter County residents.
Right.
And that's important to us. But I would love for you to tell the story the one day that you and Braden were driving on the truck. Because this happened to every one of the employees at least once, but it's just funny. So you have to.
Yeah. So it wasn't my very first time working at Kona, but one of my first times on my own.
Well, I was with Braden.
Well, I was driving.
He was driving.
But you guys weren't there.
Yeah, I think you were.
But Braden is very, very knowledgeable, by the way. Shout out to Braden. She's very, very knowledgeable at such a young age. It was like I was talking. How old is Braden? 18 now?
She's 18, but she was probably 15 or 16.
Exactly. But it was like talking to an adult. It was like, hey, Braden, what do you do this? And she's like, she could be on her phone. She's like, and she knows exactly what to do. And I'm like, oh, thank God you're still here. But that one day was the baseball kickoff. And we had the baseball kickoff, and then we had to go to Citrus County Speedway. Yeah. So we're on our way to Citrus County Speedway, and I'm driving, and we're going back to the back roads on 48 through Wahoo. And I remember going past the Wahoo Baptist Church, and I kept seeing these cars like pull over and like get off on the side of the road, and I'm like, I'm looking around, I'm like, I don't see, like, I'm not like, what is going on? I don't get it. And Braden's in the passenger seat, and she's just like on her phone or whatever, and I'm like, I keep driving, and finally I see another car, and I see this car pull over, and I go, hey, Braden, why are these cars pulling over? And she comes over and flips the strobe lights. The strobe lights. I'm like, what, did they think it was a Kona funeral or something?
No.
A work. I don't pull over for a work truck, so they got flashing lights. So I'm like, what is going on? Like, we're thinking that's like, man, that was a great send off for that guy right there. He had a Kona truck and everything. Yeah. Everybody at the gravesite had him sitting there eating out.
Yeah, plenty of shaved ice.
But yeah, little stories like that. But I also want to say, if you don't mind me saying this, but with the give back, you give 20% back every time. So it's like you are, it doesn't matter if you sell, 6 Konas, they're still getting the 20%. That's what I love about it.
Yeah, we had one soccer girls game 2 seasons ago, I think, and we sold $3, and so they got like 20 cents. Or something. Well, but it added up a little bit.
Sounds like the government.
Yeah. But and that's one thing Jeremy and I we take this business very seriously. And we can talk about a little bit more with our next business, but we take it very seriously because the Kona is a brand that's much bigger than me and Jeremy. It is throughout the United States, even into Canada and into Mexico. So this is and it's still growing. The brand is not that old. I think they started franchising in 2012.
Oh wow!
So it's not really that old, but the experience from one Kona to the next Kona truck should always be the same. So we take it seriously. We want it to be consistent, but we also stick to our word. So if we come to your baseball game and we say we're going to give you 20%.
And it's a 35-degree rainy night, and we sell one.
Yep.
We're going to give you that 20%, because we promised that. And I was going with something and I lost it.
Well, I was going to...
But...
Go ahead.
I don't know what I was going somewhere. Oh, so sometimes people we'll hear them walk by the truck because they act like the window's open that we don't hear, but we hear you. And they'll say, oh God, what's Kona here? It's too cold or whatever. But when we scheduled with that coach 2 months ago, I don't know the weather. And you know how Florida is. It's hot and cold.
Right.
So we stick to our word, and there's not been very many events that we say we're going to be there that we don't go there. Even if it's raining, we're going to at least show up because our word is only as good as what we've done. And I think that we've done a good job of showing people that we will show up regardless of the weather, regardless of the traffic. We will be there, and I feel like that's important.
Well, I was going to tell you that a lot of people, because like we talked about, there's so many other Konas out there, Kona franchises, that a lot of people will see that, and not everybody gives that 20%.
No, because you can do whatever you want.
Do whatever you want, because in the story I was going to tell you is, and I've told you this already, a certain school on the other side, the green side, I was talking to them about, hey, do y'all have Kona come on? And they're like, no, because they charge too much, or I forgot exactly what she said, but she was not very pleased with Kona. And I was like, well, but that's not Jeremy and Marisa. That's not them. And once I told them how you operate, they're like, oh, but at the time where they couldn't see you guys.
So we are slowly building a great relationship with Middleton, because they are in our territory.
Right.
And, we've stuck by our word. We've given them what we said we were going to give them, and we've shown up when we said we're going to show up. So hopefully we'll build a great relationship with the whole campus, not just the football team. But that is something that, Kona, each franchise can come with their own price, can come up with their own menu options, can come up with
their own way of doing business.
I mean, it is totally separate. So people get really confused, and they'll say, well, so-and-so did this and you're doing that.
Absolutely.
And so it does get it gets a little muddled sometimes.
Right.
And, we want people to know if we get too big for our britches, that it's like,
put us in line.
Tone us down a little bit, because we're still starting, and we're year 3.5. We have so much to learn. And so
I can't believe it's been that long.
I know. But then some people have been in business over 10 years. A lot of our neighbors around us have been in business 10 years. So they can afford to do things a little bit differently. Right. And maybe their give backs are a little bit more, because
or less.
It just depends, you know. Or some people charge a fee to show up. Some people don't. I mean, So we just want people to give us a little bit of grace and know that we're still learning and still trying to figure out how best, because we are running a business. We have a payroll of nine people right now, plus us. So that's 11 people we're paying. We're making truck payments, we're paying gas, we're paying. So we do have to, at some point, it is a business. We can't just give everything away.
True. Well, I was going to say, I worked for Disney for 17 years, and I'm not trying because you're here. You guys are pretty much the closest thing I can compare to with customer service. If something happens to the product, you replace it. It's like that goes so far, and if other companies would adapt that, I think they would be more successful, because that is, if you ask anybody that comes through that theme park, besides they love Disney, the second thing they're going to say is customer service. How can they make it better? And I've been on the side where you can't make it better. That person is just set on, I don't want you to help me, or nothing you have will suffice. And then that's when you walk away, because you tried. You did your best, But I did notice when I first started, the first couple of times I did do the Kona trucks, there's kids that are like, I dropped mine. I'm like, oh, here, just take another one. And I wasn't sure if I could do that to begin with, but everything I've done, you never, even if I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go with it. It just works out. I mean, why wouldn't you make that person want to come back? That's the whole purpose behind the thing.
That's the whole purpose.
Whenever we first went up to get our very first Kona truck, the owner of the company's name is Tony Lamb, and his dad, which is hilarious and a great guy and one of the best storytellers I've ever met my whole entire life. Right now, I think he's 87 years old.
Oh, wow.
He's a character. But he got up there in front of all the people that really probably knew more than us about business, and he told us a story about this guy that went to this restaurant every day and ordered a cheeseburger with a pickle on it. For years he went there and same thing every single day, cheeseburger with a pickle. He went in one day, he's like, you know what, I want 2 pickles on that cheeseburger. And they said, well, that's gonna be an extra 50 cents. And he walked out. For for one pickle just because he went there all them years.
Yeah.
So Tom was like, just give him the pickle.
Yeah.
So, if somebody asked for a little bit of extra ice or whatever,
Extra spoon.
just give it to them, make them happy, and just and that's kind of stuck with me over the last few years, that just it's an extra cost, but it makes them happy, and it's going to it'll come back to you. You know.
Yeah. And that's the key is you want them to be happy, and you want them to come back.
Absolutely.
And that's I think y'all do a great job doing that. I mean, the schools, they love you guys. I mean, those kids lose their mind. Of course, the teachers are probably,
might not.
I was about to say the teachers are like, oh my God, they're here again.
I know.
It must be early released.
We love all of our educators very much.
And we try to do our best to make it as seamless as possible and nice and easy for them, and kind of be a break day for them also, not only the kids.
Right.
That's why when we're there, all staff is free. If you're a staff member, just come up and get one.
Yep. I think that's and again, people wouldn't think about that because they're like, I'm too old for that. And you're like, everybody loves Kona.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say, there's a lot of people that they're like, I don't want to give the Kona because the red dye, or but there are other options.
Kona is very aware of the dye-free situation.
Right.
So we do have many dye-free flavors. So every truck has at least 2, if not 4 options.
Gotcha.
And sugar-free.
But the customer has to ask us, because those are in the back. The Flavor Wave ones out front, those do have dye in them, except for like pina colada.
Well, yeah, you're not going to know their situation. That's like someone automatically assuming they have a peanut allergy or something like that. Like, you look like you have you're allergic to shellfish or something. Like, what are you doing? So but there are those options as well.
There are.
Yeah,
and it is, all the Kona products are dairy free, gluten free, all the frees.
Gotcha.
So just the dye free is in the back and sugar free is in the back. But we do try to make sure we always have that available so that no one can say, I can't have one. I mean, you can.
Right. And that's where you don't want to exclude anybody.
Exactly.
And that's, I mean, like I said, you go back to the customer service, and you don't want to leave anybody out. You just want to, it's one big party. Everybody can join.
Everybody can join.
Yep.
And it is, nutritious and delicious. So there are some
like I say in the promo,
it's nutritious and delicious.
And then someone looked at me like, what? But it is. Yeah,
everybody thinks it's full of sugar, but there are some vitamins in there.
Right.
There is some stevia in there, so it's not just all natural cane sugar. So sometimes parents will walk by, they're like holding the kids are eating Mountain Dews and pizzas and donuts, and like, no, too much sugar in that. And I'm thinking,
it has way less than that.
A kitty Kona with the appropriate size of flavoring only has 10 carbs in it. So that donut
has a few more,
but
they are delicious.
They are
both simply delicious.
I have made Jeremy promise that we will not buy a donut truck. So knock on wood,
that
you
would
won't.
Be.
God, it'd be so good.
We would have no profits.
None. Like, we had there would be a lot of overhead, and then it'd be eaten.
Yes. Because we love donuts.
Yeah. Who doesn't love donuts?
So let's just put that out there, that the Wallens will not own a donut truck.
Well,
don't ever say we won't.
Never say never.
Never know.
You pinky promise, though.
Oh, okay. Well, then that is official. If you pinky promise. All right. So, I think it's time that we pull the cat completely out of the bag, and let's talk about your newest addition.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So,
who wants to start?
So Jeremy talked about Tony Lamb's dad, the character, the 87-year-old gentleman.
Who we just recently found out used to be the CEO of Rainbow Vacuum Cleaners.
Oh, okay. My mom used to sell those. Yeah, that's fun.
So many fun stories. But his name is Tom.
Okay, Tom. There you
go. A few years ago, probably about 5 years ago, Kona thought they needed to start diversifying, eventually having multiple food truck options, so you can kind of pick and choose what would work for you and what you'd want. And so Travelin Toms came out. At first their first concept was called Grounded, and it was more like an airplane type theme, and it was super cool. I love the color scheme of it. But then Tom, during COVID, got COVID and really almost passed away, and it was a really hard time.
Oh, wow.
He's like a beloved character of corporate. Everybody loves Tom Lamb. So during that time, Tony did
like a revamp of
he told everybody, and he's like, you know what, I love my dad so much, we're going to honor him by naming our new business Traveling Toms. So they started selling them out. So it was like, people around the country were getting the first generation, second generation. So Jeremy and I went to all the talks about it to try to learn more, because we thought, we want to grow, because we really can't grow where we are with Kona. We can only have so many Kona trucks running around the three counties.
True.
After a while, you're too saturated. And so we threw our name in. We got a phone call in August that, hey, you ready? And I was like, nope.
Not at all.
Cried the entire phone call because I couldn't believe that they had chosen us to bring the brand to Florida. So the closest one right now was
Pensacola.
Well, no, it was in Atlanta.
Okay. Wow. That's a
So how it worked, so they came out with the idea a few years ago, transformed it to the Tom's Traveling coffee truck.
Which someone who loves their dad, I love that he named after his dad.
Yeah,
so of course I was
cool.
like, we gotta have one.
That's cool.
And then they had a few at corporate, and they sent a few to franchisees that were quite large in big cities and have been in the business pretty much since the beginning. They're like, y'all test them. Let's make sure they can monetize, because they were more expensive trucks and the products are way more expensive. And you have expiration dates on dairy products and so on. And they were doing okay. Well, then they had an issue with generators.
Right.
The trucks were completely reliant on the onboard generator. They went down, they were done, so then they couldn't get parts because it was after COVID and stuff was still hard to get. So then they're like, we know what, we're not going to make this available. It's too much right now. And then they got with this company where the truck is 100% battery powered. Like everything, the truck itself drives, it's a gas engine, but everything in the back runs off of lithium batteries.
Gotcha.
Because the regular lead acid couldn't keep up with the demand to run the coffee machines and the refrigerator and the shaver for the frappes and the water heaters. And so they came up with this new battery. So then they're like, okay, let's start sending this out to other franchises. Pretty much every franchisee was like, either I wanted one or I'm gonna want one. Right. So I'm like, I saw it and I was like, I want one. Yeah. Like, I love coffee. I'm like, this is gonna be great. We're gonna be able to expand. They'll never select us
because we're a rural area that's not really big. We're not a big franchisee. Right. Our neighbors around us, some of them own 7 territories, 4 territories. They've been in business for a long time. Yeah. So when we got that call, it was like, what?
Well, I was going to say Atlanta is huge. I mean, it's the biggest city in the South. I mean, pretty much. I mean,
but that had been how far down it had made it.
Wow.
So he got one of the first generation trucks.
Okay.
He's one of the test markets.
So they called us and they said, okay, we're going to give 3 to Florida. Pretty much you're our first call. And of course we had to say yes. You couldn't say no.
Yeah, you never know when you're going to get the call.
Yeah, so I was like,
Right.
So cry. Yes, we'll do it. And then nervous though, because Kona's you shave, give it out. They're doing most of the work for you, but coffee you have to do all the work for them. And so, and I would go to Starbucks and I'd look at what they were doing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how are we ever going to do this? So they had us go work on a truck, so we were able to go to Alabama and spend a few days with another franchisee on their truck, and that relieved a lot of stress because Kona is very good at doing things automated, and it's the same thing every time. Yeah. They make it as easy and quick as possible. Right. So we can literally make a drink for
45 seconds.
Gotcha.
Which is pretty quick.
Yeah.
Because they want you to because Kona is so fast, they want Tom's to be fast too. So we were picked. So we were pretty stoked. We had to shuffle and hire a lot of extra staff to help us run the Kona business so that we could get in line, and Jeremy and I could work all the bugs out so that we would be able to train people
Right.
on the new truck. So we went to Coffee Academy
Okay.
the week before Thanksgiving, right?
It was 2 weeks.
2 weeks before-
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's been a blur.
These last few weeks have been crazy.
I text you, and you were in Alabama. You're like, and I'm like, oh, I felt bad because I'm like, oh, she's probably in the middle of making a caramel macchiato.
No, I know I do that now.
Yeah, which I had no clue because I'm a very basic.
Yeah.
I was a very
Right.
basic coffee drinker.
Yeah.
And so I would go to Starbucks and I would get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Overwhelmed.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
you'll go in there and have anxiety.
I don't know what to order. I don't
Yeah.
know what has what in it.
Yeah.
And we're learning.
We're learning.
Good. If you want to blow someone's mind in Starbucks, go in there and go, y'all have Folgers?
Well, if you blow our mind, if you say oat milk or almond milk, we're both like,
Yeah, kind of.
because then we gotta
We're trying to get used to it.
we gotta back up a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, when you become a chemist, like
Yeah.
you're like Walter White.
I know.
You're over there making stuff. You're like, what am I doing?
Well, and I had happened the other day. Lady come up and she's like, "We have hot apple cider." She's like, "I want it frozen." I'm like, "I don't know if I can do that." I was like, "I'll try though." I was like, "It may be disgusting." I was like, so I made a hot apple cider, put some ice in it, then made it into a frappe, and I was like, well, here, like, kind of hesitantly handed it out the window because I had no clue. Like, we have a menu booklet that kind of gives us little secrets to how to make the normal drinks.
Right.
That's not in there.
not
Yeah.
not everybody.
So I'm like,
drinks
That is a curveball right
I
there.
just slowly slid it out the window, and I was like, try. I was like, if not, I was like, I won't charge it. Just try it. And she's like, this is amazing. I'm like, okay, whew, I got it done. I didn't know.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following. Webster Ace Hardware and Farm Supply are generous sponsors for today's podcast. They have been a family-owned business for 27 years. This helpful hardware store sells items such as archery, Ariat clothing and boots, Wrangler jeans, case knives, Hammond's candies, and live fishing wear. They also have a full selection of hardware, RV supply, propane, Ben Moore, Royal & Clark, and Kenningston paints. You need a barn or fencing job done? Custom barn kits and roofing metal are provided at your local Ace Hardware store. What about a new grill for the yard? Traeger, Big Green Egg, Weber, and Blackstone are found here, along with all the accessories to go with them. Stock up your workshop with DeWalt, Milwaukee, or Craftsman tools. They got you covered. Remember to go to ace.com to shop their entire line to have items shipped directly to the store. Well, and this is going to be completely off the subject, but accidental stuff like you're talking about, experimenting.
Yeah.
That's how they made the first slushy. The guy left a Coke or whatever it was in the freezer, and it blew up, and he was like, hey, I could sell that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was completely an accident. And so that's sometimes how you have to do it to get what you think is what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it can be like, hey, the ones that you're like, oh man, this sounds great. You start putting it in and you're like, oh God, that's
That's it.
I do that with cooking all the time. I'm like, ugh,
Yeah.
what was I thinking?
Well, and that's kind of because this is our first week on the road.
Yeah.
This is our first week. So we got our food permit on Monday, and we had the soft grand opening on Tuesday. We were just driving around Bushnell and ended up in Webster. And that was the thing. How does it taste? What can we do better? Give us feedback, yes or no. We want to know if it's not perfect because we are not baristas.
Yeah.
I mean, we're following, a set menu, but we want it to be perfect. Yeah. But that first day we were both out the window and someone would say, oh, I want blah, blah, blah. And we'd go, okay. And we back up and look at each other
and a lot of people do that. A lot of people now, they have getting used to order, for a lack of better words, than bougie coffees.
Yeah.
And they'll come up and they'll just ramble some words off. And I'm like, what was that? Can you please repeat that? Because I have no clue what you just said.
Can I get a mocha latte nacho grande noche? You're like, what?
What is
all
that?
I got was mocha.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Yeah. We go through the drive-through McDonald's or Starbucks, and Nicole and then can I get a mocha hot? I'm like, okay, so it's hot. Why do you have to say it's got to be hot? Do they make a mocha cold?
Yes.
Okay, well, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm
Who
like,
knew, right?
Yeah.
Well, I know. I mean, and I thought that, but I was like, why don't you just say a regular mocha then? Wouldn't that be distinguished as being cold? Like, because you don't. If you want something done to Coke, you say I want a Coca-Cola. That's going to be cold. But if I want an ice Coke, I want to say an ice Coke. So that's why I was like, I got to try to learn the lingo here because
You got to say hot or frozen, or iced or
you got
whatever.
to be very specific, or you might create something on your own.
Well, the good thing with the Traveling Tom's truck is we just have 2 cup sizes. So when the Grande, that's it's either a hot cup or a cold cup.
Yeah.
And they're both 16 ounces. So I feel like you get a good value for the size cup you get.
Yeah.
Jeremy can talk a little bit about the machine and the espresso.
Well, like as far as
How's it freshly? It's not percolating.
Yeah, I said percolating earlier, and
he was like, "We don't percolate.
Yeah, we don't percolate here."
Every cup is a fresh ground espresso shot. So the machine has beans in it, and it grinds a fresh little, like espresso puck every time, and injects the water through it.
Okay.
And we have to monitor it. So we have to weigh out the ground beans. They have to weigh a certain amount. They have to be a certain consistency, and the water has to be pushed through at a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
If it takes too long, it's going to be too strong. Not long enough, it won't be strong enough.
Wow.
So it's going back to the chemist thing. It's like literally we get this little like food scale out there and have to weigh the ground up coffee and like the beans can only be open for so long because they're sealed up, and they are a good bean from Kona, Hawaii, which I had no clue was really a place. And I know we have Kona Ice. I'm like, it's just a thing, maybe it's a word, but it actually is a Kona, Hawaii. So our beans are from Kona, Hawaii, which we found out last night, and from Nicaragua. Found out last night that apparently they actually is one of the better beans that are out there is coffee beans from Kona, which I had no clue.
But the difference with that is that our beans are sourced from those 2 places and those 2 places only.
Exclusively.
Yes. So we won't get
always be the same.
So the same bean taste will be consistent. At all every time you get a coffee from us, and then also
or any other Toms.
So that's kind of a proprietary big selling point for our trucks. So they don't have to mesh them together and cook them and burn them or whatever.
Going back to when you said it's got to be a certain way, blah blah. I also want to throw this in on the Kona side. A lot of people just think you just throw some ice cubes in there, but it's not. You have that temperature control, and you've got the 3 tanks or 4 tanks. I don't know how many those are, but you
need to spend more time on it.
Yeah. Well, football season's over, so
yes, I have a little more time now. But a lot of people don't realize that the chest and the back that keep the ice in, they're different temperatures. Because if it's too hard, then you will the
consistency
the ice is not consistent, and it's more like snow cone-ish, right? Am I right?
Yeah. If ice is too cold, it makes like a powder, and
so it's less.
So the minute you put the flavoring in, it just sinks to the bottom.
Yeah, you don't get that good saturation, and the shape of the ice matters.
And that's very helpful with. If you're making people don't understand how many you make. You go through. I'll give you an example. When we did the rodeo, was that 2 years ago?
Oh yes, you almost died that night.
Last year.
Was it? I think it might have been last year. It wasn't this past fall. It was Alyssa Bennett and I were in the truck. She was the cool headed one. I'm running around like a squirrel.
When you came back, you were like, we don't need money.
I'm like, I don't have any money. I don't have any ice. Thank God the fair board had some money. Some ones, some change, and the ice you guys drove up, but I was panic.
Well, because if there's no ice, you can't make a Kona.
Absolutely, and I don't want to be like, we're waiting on ice. You go to McDonald's like, our ice cream machine's down again.
Always.
We really try to pride ourselves on not running out of stuff, and even it was a month or 2 ago. So we went somewhere, we weren't expecting it to be a big. I can't remember what it was, but it kind of made us feel good. I think it was the first football game.
It was a Savage race.
No. It was the first South Sumter High football game when we played the Villages at the new stadium, and it was a crazy night. It was busy, and we were running out of all flavors. And my mom was like, "You guys never run out, so I know y'all are busy," and that made me feel good that we do try to be prepared.
And they understood too.
But sometimes events that we think are going to be small are big, or vice versa.
Yeah.
I mean, we've packed those trucks full and shown up somewhere, and it been like,
and sell $3.
yeah. So we always
ebbs and flow, huh?
Yes.
Thanks for watching part 1 of this 2-part segment. Stay tuned for part 2.